A brief history of ramen, from China to Japan and beyond. Hello and welcome to Crazy Food History, where we explore the world of food and drink. From its humble beginnings in China to its current status as a worldwide sensation, ramen is a cuisine that has traveled the world. But what is the background of this hearty and tasty noodle soup? Ramen has developed into a sophisticated and varied dish throughout the years, with a wide range of regional variations. But the thick, delicious broth is something that all ramen dishes have in common. In this brief history, we'll look at the beginnings of ramen, as well as how it developed in Japan and expanded throughout the rest of the world. We'll also discover the various varieties of ramen and the distinctive taste that each location has to offer. Although ramen has long been identified with Japanese culture, there is proof that the Chinese were the ones who truly invented the dish. Although the water around history is unclear, it is equally fascinating. The Untold History of Ramen author George Solt, an associate history professor at New York History, offers a very compelling explanation of how Japan came to dominate the ramen market. His investigation revealed that a customs officer who worked in Japan's Chinatown of Yokohama founded a ramen business in 1910. The majority of the restaurant's cooks were Chinese, and they produced a dish of noodles that was extremely well liked by blue-collar Japanese employees. Ramen was so well liked in Japan that after World War II destroyed the nation's food supply, it was among the first foods to return. Once they had recovered from the war, upscale Japanese restaurants began offering it, and it quickly became a staple in the country. Financial prosperity is one phrase you'll almost certainly never hear someone use to describe their college experience. When you leave your parents' home for 4 years after graduating from high school, unless you have a trust fund waiting for you, you soon learn how to pinch pennies. One of the most significant costs you learn to minimize is food. This explains why so many college students learn early on about the financial advantages of an instant ramen diet. Consequently, they have more money for the essentials like alcohol. But what instant ramen devotees wouldn't know is that the food item initially appeared on store shelves in 1958. It wasn't promoted as an inexpensive meal. The reverse was true. Advertisers promoted ramen to children and middle-class women in the early 1970s. Noodles were viewed as a filling and healthy way to feed a nuclear family, and many homes basked in their delicious splendor. But as time went on, the dish changed into the quick, inexpensive meals that can now be found in most dorm rooms all over the world. Even those who are prone to great boredom during a museum excursion would likely find it intriguing that there is a whole museum dedicated to ramen. Not all of us can pretend excitement as we go through the halls of a museum. The Cup of Noodles Museum in Osaka, Japan, draws a throng merely based on the concept's peculiarity alone. That's right, there's a whole building focused solely on the progression of instant ramen noodles. Beginning with the 1958 invention of instant chicken ramen, visitors to the museum are free to tour the rooms and learn about how the elegant cup noodles became so popular while they're there. The museum has attractions and displays in addition to beautiful plaques that describe the historical relevance. You may be seated on a seat in the Cup Noodle Drama Theater, watching a performance, or even better, posting it up in the tasting room for a delectable post-war feast. Before you depart, be sure to stop at the gift store. You wouldn't want to go home without a souvenir from one of the world's strangest museums. As the phrase goes, you are what you eat. Unfortunately, even if you are fascinated with the flavor of instant ramen noodles, the nutrition statistics are so horrifying that any doctor would run for safety. Food that is inexpensive is a clear warning sign because it is probably loaded with fake components that won't generate revenue for any business. Natural products cost more, even though they are far more effective for the body. Thus, cutting corners is frequently the name of the game. Instant ramen entirely avoids these areas of health and substitutes them with high salt levels in TBHQ, a synthetic substance that does not occur naturally in people. So unless you plan on eating a healthy dose of veggies or fruits with your noodles, it's best not to settle on this item as a go-to dish for any kind of nutritional value. There are 4 unique flavor profiles that the tongue can detect: sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. Any dietitian will tell you this. These are the 4 flavors that our tongues detect as we eat. There is, in fact, a 5th profile that is frequently overlooked. If you've never heard the word umami before, don't worry. It's a common term. One of those tastes, umami, overwhelms our palate so frequently that we don't even notice it. However, ramen cooks all over the globe are aware that this savory flavor profile is far superior to the others. In Japanese, the word umami means delicious taste. It describes the savory flavor of food that kicks our salivary glands into action with a rich and hearty mouthfeel. That sensation is caused by MSG. Well, boatloads of MSG certainly aren't what you want to constantly pump your body full of. The occasional venture is delicious. MSG is very often used in Chinese food to improve the flavor. Many chefs throughout the world appreciate the savory flavor profile that keeps their customers happy when they dine, despite the widespread perception that even trace amounts of MSG are detrimental. We all understand that the goal of jail is to rob convicts of their freedom to punish them for their illegal activity, while virtually every aspect of their prior lives is taken away. They are reminded of the outer world in certain ways. There are snack bars in many jails where convicts may buy items like coffee, sweets, and hygiene products. As you might guess, all of those are in high demand, but at Rikers Island in New York City, few prison meals are as well liked by inmates as quick ramen noodles. The 35-cent dinner is a popular seller, a Department of Prisons official claimed in an interview. Taking into account all the city's facilities, they sold 838,267 packets of noodles in 2009 alone, yet, oddly enough, many of the convicts don't even eat the noodles. The dried out squares will be thrown away, but the seasoning packets will be kept and used to season other foods. The noodles continue to sell like hotcakes whether or not they are eaten, and while you're incarcerated, you have to accept what you can get. Deciding between an umami-packed bowl of ramen and a substantial burger for supper is a challenge. Both are delicious and completely satisfy your hunger, but unless you have a Joey Chestnut-like appetite, you'll have to limit yourself to just one. Nobody loves to find themselves in this situation, but you may have both in one dinner, as if the food gods themselves descended from their culinary clouds and blessed the planet. Give the ramen burger a hearty greeting, ladies and gentlemen. So precisely how does a ramen burger function? It's simple. The burger and toppings are sandwiched between two circular ramen patties in place of bread. This ingenious idea was thought up by a Japanese-American chef named Keiichi Shimamoto in 2013, and he first introduced it to the world at the Smorgasbord Food Market in Brooklyn, New York. It's simple to quickly bring up those ramen packages wherever the phrase "instant noodles" is spoken. They are undoubtedly noodles since they are instant. The noodles, however, are something completely different unless the package expressly states that it is ramen. Yes, they are both noodle soups, but whereas traditional ramen is created fresh and the seasoning is already infused into the broth, the non-ramen kind is mass-produced and contains packets of spice. And now, that brings us to the end of our video. Thank you for watching, and like, share, and subscribe for more interesting videos like this.